Laoghaire, Washington Smith, the elected representatives, I think Harry Smith and St. Dennis McCallum there, the British Ambassador, Robin Barnett, and the Australian Ambassador, Richard Andrews. The museum, the Maritime Museum staff that are all here this evening, members of the Mailboat Committee, I suppose everybody that has taken the time to be here this evening for the launch of the RMS Leinster exhibition. By way of introduction, my name is Mary Tinelli. I'm Director for Corporate, IT and Tourism in Dublin County Council. I'm only there for the last 9 months, but as it was coming up to Christmas and weeks after Christmas, I was getting a lot of correspondence both from the Department of Culture, Heritage and Gaeltacht, the members of the Maritime Museum here, and the members of the RMS Mailboat Committee. And they were all organising events around the Centenary, which is happening on the 10th of October this year. So I thought it was possibly the best thing to do was to try and get a coordination group in place with us all in the room, ensuring that we all knew what events were taking place, who was doing what. So the Centenary Event Coordination Committee was put in place. We first met in March, and we worked very closely firstly with the Department of Culture, Heritage and Gaeltacht, the Department of Defence, the OPW, and to the event that's taking place on the 10th of October this year. So it's to ensure that while it's coordinated at a national level, they do need feedback from ourselves here at a local level as to the content that goes in to the state commemorative event which is taking place on the 10th of October this year. But surrounding all of that is going to be a lot of other events that are taking place between here and October, and events that are being organised the week before, a few days afterwards. So it's not just about the 10th of October, it's about the time leading up to it. So it's people like Richard McCormick here in the Maritime Museum, it's Honorary Librarian Brian Ellis, and author of the book Torpedoed, the RMS Leinster disaster, Philip McCain, who's here this evening. Members of the committee, St. John's Ambulance are also represented on the committee, and a host of other people who have volunteered to put in place a host of events in the weeks leading up to the States ceremony. And I have to say, I have enormous respect for the amount of time and commitment that volunteers put into events like this, events that they are passionate about, that they want to see are remembered by us all. Dublin County Council is delighted to support and assist all of the voluntary groups in any way we can to make sure that the marking of this tragic event, which was the worst ever sea disaster here in Ireland, and make sure that the loss of the lives is not forgotten. 567 people, women, children, defenceless civilians, all died as the RMS Leinster was struck by 2 torpedoes fired by a German U-boat. But this was war, something thankfully none of us here tonight would have lived through, but many of us would have parents and grandparents that would have lived through the 1914 to 1918 World War I. The work of Brian Ellis, Philip McCain, I presume ably assisted by, I'm sure, many people, have spent decades studying these events and discovering who was on board that day. I must commend you for all your dedication and devotion to ensuring that these people and this event will not be forgotten. This exhibition, I'm sure, will be viewed by many people, be it relatives or tourists, over the coming months as we prepare to mark the 100th anniversary. Dublin and the coordination group will continue to work on ensuring that the programme of events to mark the Centenary is one that will ensure that this tragedy is never forgotten. So I want to thank you all for taking the time to be here tonight and wish the Maritime Museum the very, very best of luck with the exhibition. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary, and I have to say the commemoration group has been a very interesting experience, and it's going in the right direction, and everybody is coming together, which is what it's really all about. Before calling on the Laoghaire to open the museum's RMS Leinster exhibition, I need to thank a few people who were involved in actually bringing it into where it is today, its preparation. The exhibition was created by the joint efforts of the Museum Committee, which is chaired by James O'Connor, and the Library Committee, headed by Honourable Librarian Brian Ellis, who joined forces to form the RMS Leinster Centenary team. Now, they benefited greatly from the in-depth research of prominent running historians, Roy Stokes, who died in RMS Leinster and wrote the very first book about it in 1998, and Philip McCabe. And they are probably the prime people who started the whole process of finding out everything that exists today. Others have taken it further and will take it further because there will be more understanding and awareness of it. I also wish to thank someone who's not here, called a Canadian called Will Laoghaire. Will Laoghaire, both of whom had relatives also in Leinster, along with Lucia Ellis and Philip Kane, managed a website called www.rmsleinster.com. And since 2003, they've been using this website to keep the story alive, and that's the important thing, keep it alive. I also want to sincerely thank Dublin County Council, who funded the RMS Leinster exhibition, and BIM, who funded the 2 touchscreens that you see over there. And they funded that through their Fisheries Local Area Development Scheme, which is funded by the European Union and the Irish Government. I also wish to acknowledge the contribution of those who served in the RMS Leinster group. And there are a lot of them. Mary has mentioned some of them. But without their input, the place that we would reach in the next couple of months would not happen. And there were a lot of them, and I'll just quickly go through. Centenary, Rampton, the Department of Culture, Gated OPW, Department of Defence, Pulse St. John Ambulance, the Millwall Leinster Committee, and also my colleagues on the committee as well. I also want to thank our community employment staff and our wonderful museum volunteers as well, because they are working side by side with one another, are responsible for the operation of this museum. Without that, it would not work. I would also like to thank more of our workers and artists who provide us with allowed us to use our painting for the invitation to this event. And last but not least, I would like to thank the Dublin Volunteer Corps. And Chair Carol, I think, is here tonight, and she's responsible for them. And it's the first time we've tried them, and we're very grateful to have you here, and we've enjoyed your work. And I will conclude this stage by thanking our two speakers. And we'll do ladies first, and obviously Laoghaire, Councillor Hutchins-Smith. So I now invite Councillor Hutchins-Smith to officially declare the exhibition open.
Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I declare this exhibition open.